Hello and welcome to the Flory Models Friday Roundup Show. Here we are with you on the 29th of July 2022. First off, thank you so much for all your messages of commiseration and support, and obviously for the loss of Molly, our dog, which we lost sadly last week. As I said, it was one of those ones, it came as a massive shock. We just weren't expecting it to happen. She was absolutely fine on Sunday. And as I say, by Wednesday late afternoon, we had to have her put down. So it really was, she was fit and healthy, and then bang. So it did come as a huge shock, and as you can imagine, we were doing lots of running around with vets. We had to take her to specialist dog hospitals and various things trying to get her fixed, but unfortunately it didn't work out very well. So unfortunately we did have to let her go. But thank you so much for all the messages. I think we've had something like 450 plus messages over the various platforms and supports. I know some of you are saying cards and everything else. And like we were saying, our pets are our children, if you like, as well. So it's just that thing of losing one, especially with Molly. She was such a part of everything we do here. She was always on the camera with the live shows, as you know. When I was working, she used to get thrown out of here because she was chewing or playing or prattling around in here. So we used to kick her out the studio and have to shut her out because of things going on, or just generally jumping up, making an appearance. But like I said before, and one of the things I put out, Molly was just full on to everything we do here. So it's that thing of like, first thing in the email, she would sit there with me as we're doing all the emails up in the office. Then we come down, we do the orders, go out and do the orders every day. She's right there nibbling all your packages and bits and pieces down in there. We're doing that with the goods coming in, the goods coming out, all of those things. She was totally into it right the way through. So to filming, especially the live show, she was all around in here, barking like crazy and causing chaos, you know, when the door rings or partner comes home and all stuff like that, right the way through up to when I'm doing editing. She's literally right there. So it's that constant companion. And the thing is, I think for anybody who's sort of in my world, when you work on your own, because I do these days, it's just me here, it is that thing that they are the people you talk to every day. You know, you say my partner goes to work, so it is literally just here, you know, me and four walls. So you talk to them and things like that. So the bit where that happens, it comes as an absolute massive shock. Do have to say though, Lola is absolutely fine. Our other black lab, she was on camera last night. She's obviously had to adjust to it as well, but it's obviously we're all sort of getting there now, and we're remembering the good times. Obviously at the time when it happens, you just think of all of that horrible, but now you're thinking of the fun you had, the laughs, the giggles, the chaos, and you know, now we're sort of moving on from it. But massive thank you, and that's why we sort of wrote last week off, because I was all over the place, and it's very difficult to sit here and act all, you know, bubbly and everything if you know, when you know she's not right or she's down her bets and you're waiting for phone calls and various things, as you can imagine. But anyway, you know, I know a lot of you have been through it. I've been through it before, and it just never gets easier anytime it happens. But a massive thank you for everybody's support. As I said, it is that thing of the Flory family. I describe us always as a family because we are one big group. So it doesn't matter if you're a new member, you've been a member for 20 years, or if you're in my immediate family. We always just describe everybody as part of the Flory family. And, you know, that includes our pets as well. So a massive thank you, first of all, for everything that went on. Anyway, as I say, it did totally screw up the week because I did nothing. And normally I work in a week in advance, if that makes sense. So I've always got normally a review and a couple of parts of a video build ready to go. And I've always done it that way just in case something like that happens, because then you can drop everything and you guys still got material to watch and keep you going. But then obviously on Monday, I literally sat here and I hadn't done a thing. So this time we started on the Lancaster. So what we got down in here is the 48 scale HK Lanc, and it is beautiful. For somebody who's built 5, I worked out the other day, of the Tamiya 48 scale ones, and obviously with all the problems and the little fixes need to happen on those ones, it is nice and refreshing to come up with a new tooled one with modern design things. So again, it's got the similar way this goes together as it did with the B17 up there, but yeah, it's a nice solid strong kit. It's all recessed as well. The riveting detail is very fine, and again, it's got some really nice touches. So yes, working on this one. So actually on this one we've used the look set by Edard. So obviously it's got a 3D type resin panel onto this one. Obviously it's got all the harnesses and the bits and pieces down in here to go in there. A mast set is an absolute must with this kit, so I won't go near it without one. So we've got the mast set down in here to go with it, and again I've got some of the master barrels for the guns, because again I think that's a little bit of a weak spot on this particular kit. To be honest, exactly the same as the B17. We replaced all the 50 cals on the B17 with aftermarket as well, just just to give it that thing. It's one of those things as a focal point. Not only do you look at the glassy areas on these aircraft, but obviously with the guns, you need nice shrouds and hollow barrels and things like that. So it's definitely well worth a little bit of an upgrade. But anyway, as you can see, it all started on Monday down in here. I made a little bit of an announcement as well, as you can see. But this is literally where we were. We was getting it all together and moving on very, very nicely with that one. Then on Tuesday, it was me and Matt's Vlogcast, or the two old gits chatting bit that we do in the afternoon. Obviously, it is live, so members, you can come and join in and watch along live as we do these ones, and we can answer questions on the fly. Matt was showing how he's been getting on over really the last 2 weeks as well. And as you can see, his Wimic's looking absolutely stunning down in there. He's just started doing the figures for it as well. He's going to be adding some various posters to the wall, as you can see down in there as well, and finishing off that one. And obviously Matt's done, you would have seen last week, one's on hand painting camo on figures and things like that as well. So those are all up there ready to see. And I know Matt, I think he put part 4 of this up as well as a free to watch on the PM YouTube channel as well. So if you want to go off, you can see part 4 of that one is available up there as well. Then we were working along. I was talking about, obviously, because I carried on painting and doing the bits and pieces onto the actual Lancaster, as you can see just down in here. And generally, we were just having a good old sort of chat and a giggle and sort of answering questions. And we were discussing things all 3D printing. And as I said, PM Models as a company, it has its own 3D printer bits and pieces and all the rest of it. We don't really utilize it enough. So it's something we really want to get our teeth into for the rest of this year and start doing things. But we were discussing how far it's come along in just a year, because we've, obviously had all this printing equipment up there for just over a year now, and really it's moved along so much in just the first year, and how it's affecting the hobby with obviously 3D printed parts. We're not quite into 3D printed kits yet, but we're definitely getting there for aftermarket and things like that. So anyway, if you want to go off and see that one, members, you can go off and see that. I'd say it's just over an hour long, so if you want to catch up with that show, you can do. On Wednesday, obviously Matt had surgery on Wednesday morning. So actually, as we were doing this particular show with me and Andy, Matt was having a little bit of surgery done. So he was in hospital. So obviously he was off all this week. We'll talk about that in a moment. But so it was just me and Andy on the actual PM show on Wednesday. And we were talking about new products and the latest arrivals and various things that are happening. And obviously the pre-orders that are gone out, and obviously tools and the usual bits and pieces, and all the comings and goings and everything from the actual PM store. So if you want to catch up with that one, this one is free to watch. Obviously it's up on YouTube, or you can watch it directly here on the Flory Models site as well. So that one is up there just like that. Last night, obviously, it was the live show. So obviously we were discussing all things, again, no Matt because he's recuperating at home, but as you can see, we were just having a bit of a giggle on the various things that were going on. Obviously last night we were discussing the big news, which was the new virtual medals that have gone up. So now we have virtual medals, which I'll show you in a moment, up on there. And then we were looking at the worthy winners from the actual build thread. So we don't have winners here for actually the best model. We have it for the best actual build thread. So if I zip along here and in here, we can see that we were looking at people's build threads and the great effort and everything that they go into as they're actually doing the full-on build threads right the way through. So we were discussing those ones. So congratulations to, this was Phil's, if I remember rightly, for his Moonraker, which is the old Airfix 144 scale kit. Let's face it, it's not the best kit out there. And he did an absolute stunning job, as you can see on that one. But it's all about the build thread. It's nothing to do with the actual finished results or anything. It's how much effort and work you've got into that one. And then the other one, if we just zip through a little bit, this was Peter, and this was for his fantastic Tyrrell. So he did the Ebro Tyrrell, lots of scratch building, lots of detail added to this one. And again, he talked us right the way through every stage of it, all the tools he's used, why he's done it, why he hasn't, how he's replaced parts, upgraded parts, various things like that. You can see all of that as well is down there. So these are all about the best build threads, which is the great thing about it, because I think that's where all your effort goes, really, is producing these. So well done to him on that one. And then last up, if I can find it, where are we? This will be this one. There we go, it's the Nat. So this was AIDS Nat, again, just showing just a normal Airfix kit right the way through. But again, it's a bit of a handful on the painting of this one and going through. And it was a beautiful sort of step-by-step photo guide for putting the actual model together and going through the processes, talking about the paint colours and all the various things that go onto this one as well. So again, really, really nice as well. So congratulations to everybody who took part, full stop, but congratulations to those as well. We had a couple of notable others as well to add to it, which was Adam for his forger that he did, and Colin, who did a gorgeous A7, a little 100 scale one, a little tiny Tamiya kit. So well done to all of you on there. And again, this is one of those things where it's all about, at the end of the day, you know, putting something back into the family. We call this the Flory family. It's like I said before, I think a lot of people just do a group build for the end reveal. It's never how I've seen it. It's not what you produce as your finished item. As far as I'm concerned, the whole point of doing group builds is that you're leaving something back for other modelers to come along. It's your legacy, if you like. So it's a bit like me doing the video builds and all the rest of it. Hopefully they'll live on a long time after I've gone. And I don't know, we've done 200 of those now over the years. And it's one of those ones, though, where obviously people can follow along and, you know, be guided by you or take your advice from you. So again, it doesn't matter if it's a video build or a photo build. The whole point is, if somebody's new to building, say a Lancaster, they can see a video build of it or a photo build and go along and look out for the pitfalls. Where's there a problem? What do I need to look out for? What bit is incorrect? So if you can give that detail into an actual photo build, somebody who's following along can do something as simple as, what color would you use for that? And you might have said or explained it even on your actual photo build. I've gone with this color. Like I say about the interior, you know, it says about XF71, which is clearly wrong, because REF interior green is a darker green than obviously the Tamiya one is. And I know they've changed the colour a bit over the years, but it's one of those, you know, key bits. And again, you know, we've spoken to Matt about it. This bit behind the Lancaster, what colour is it? Some of them were actually done the actual light earth colour. Others were done the dark green, and then others were an interior green. Which one, how, and where? If you can explain these things, it'll answer a lot of those questions which people are following along in your footsteps. So it doesn't matter if your, you know, photo or video build is literally 1 week old or 10 years old. 20 years old. It can be invaluable for somebody to come along and just follow through, especially when there's little tips and tricks about putting the kit together. And we've all had them, you know, the bits where, you know, you might put glasswork in early or late, you can explain why. The bit where you put the gearing in a certain way, you know, the bit sometimes getting turrets in especially can be one of those notoriously difficult things of knowing when to put them in. If somebody's just followed through, they can get their head around the build before they get to it. So that's what I've always said. And that's the thing about Flory models with the actual build threads. I don't know exactly how many we got now, but we've got to be running into the tens and tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands on there now, where you can do a simple search, come up with it. And even if you're just following 2 or 3 or just taking inspiration or ideas, it just makes your build as you're doing it a little bit easier when you're staring at it thinking, what colour am I going to paint that? It doesn't explain it. A lot of modern, well, we know manufacturers now don't even give colour call-outs, accurate ones anyway. So you're thinking, you know, how do you do it? There's so many different variants of paint out there as well. And they're all slightly different shades normally. Which one do you use? And again, if you've got a video or a photo build you can go along and follow, that just makes life a little bit easier. Even if you don't agree with what they've used, you can turn around and look at it and go, do you know what? I don't like that colour. I'm going to do it in this one. You know, but that's the whole point. And that's really why we do group builds and SIGs. Not only is it a great way of bringing everybody together, you know, onto a common talk and chat and focus point, but also, as you say, it's leaving behind that legacy. So it's nothing about prizes. It's nothing about winning, having the best model and all the rest of it. If you're into that, clearly you're in the wrong place, because we don't do that. It's really about the fun of taking part and sharing that knowledge and that information and helping other modelers when they're coming along. Because that's the other thing as well. If you're building a model and somebody else has built it, they can just pop in and say, watch out for such and such. It's a right sod to get that in. You might want to do it this way. Or I had that trouble. I wish I'd done it a different way, before they get to it. And that will just help people's modelling go along. So imagine it like a giant model club with everybody giving their sort of 2 penneth into it, you know, but virtually. And that's the whole point of doing it through the forum. So that's why we sort of do it down in there. But anyway, we do have the virtual medals now are up. So if I just show you how this is going to work. So what happens is now as you can see in here, if I just go through, we have our little virtual medal, which sits in here. All right, so everybody got those that completed the last actual group build, and they sit in here, and each medal will be different, and there'll be different colors and styles and all the rest of it. And what will happen is they'll literally work their way along here, and they'll slightly overlap. But what you'll be able to do is click on each medal, and it will take you to the actual reveal section with everybody's completed builds down in there, just like that. And then obviously you can click into the actual, this one here, the first one, and then if you wanted to, and you can see the actual video, the reveal video for it as well. So obviously this is the 70s one now, and as time goes on, we'll be adding every 6 months a new medal onto this one, and you can work your way along there just like that. So the idea is you'll click on there. Now I'm acutely aware some people are having trouble with the actual medals not displaying correctly on the forum. This seems to be an issue at your end than it is at our end, and I can speak for it as well, because when I went to set all this up on Thursday morning, it wasn't working for me either, but it just seemed to clear. And it was absolutely fine. So although you might not see it, it says PNG, everybody else can see it. And I'm not quite sure why it's doing it. It may be that it's a cookies issue on your computer. It might be a browser problem, how it's displaying, or something else like that. There is a little walk around, because you can just take the image of the medal, and I know Nathan's posted up about it in the forum, and you can just add that into yours that way. But trust me, just because you can't see it doesn't mean that the rest of the people can't see it. So it may clear. It may be one of those things that, you know, your computer, when it cleans out, you shut it down, whatever it does, it will sort out that problem. So it's actually in there. But again, I'm not sure exactly how it's working. We were only made aware of it literally yesterday. So we will have a look at it at the weekend, and we'll see if we can fix the problem for you and get all of those ones sorted out. So again, bear with us on that. Anyway, last up is today. So what we've got here is obviously part one of the Lancaster is up with you now. Again, it's a beautiful kit. It goes together really, really well. So part one is up there now. We talk about obviously putting it all together. So I've done this as sort of a whole. It's not as busy as you would say as like the B17 is inside, because it's got lots of bulkheads and bomb bays and all the rest of it. So it's straightforward. You can get this thing in here just like this. Then we talk about obviously going to the spray booth to do the interior colours and all the rest of it. And like I explained, I think XF71 is just a little bit too light, so we darken it up with a little bit of green, so it looks right to me. All right, so there we go, spraying that in there. Then we actually do all the actual flight deck and all down the actual fuselage sections as well, so we get all the green in there just like that. Then we go in with the black, so we sort of mask that one off, and we get all the black work in there right the way through. Again, so it's looking very much the part, and then that gets us to here. So part two will be up with you on Monday, which really does all the weathering side of it, and we get the two halves together in this one. I said before, it goes together really very, very nicely. As I said, we had a little bit of seam down in here, so I show a new, well, not a new trick, a very old trick about super glue. So we do super glue filler right the way through this one and on the bottom, and I've re-scribed and we've re-riveted and everything just down in here. So that's looking very much the part. Happy of how this has gone. It's looking pretty darn good down in there, just like that. So next up for me, we'll be sort of pushing in with this one, is going to be getting the turrets all done over the weekend. We'll get the glass work all done, finished off, and then that way we can go and get going with the engines. But as I say, part one is up with you right now. You members, you can go off and see that now. And then obviously part two will be up with you on Monday, and I'll be working through this one for the rest of next week. As soon as we somewhat get this together and out of construction phase, I'll be starting on the next one, which is the 32nd scale Sky Raider. So we've gone from quite big, probably about the same size overall, not much in it, to obviously the Sky Raider, which is a kit. It's been in my stash now for 10, 15 years. Always wanted to do it. I'm a fan of the Sky Raider, and it's a nice big one as well. So we're going big again at that point. But this actually is a beautiful kit, going together really, really nicely. My only complaint, it doesn't come with engine mounts. And it's like, why doesn't it come with engine mounts? It's got 4 beautifully done engines, but they actually mount to the firewall off the supercharger at the back of the engine and not actually there. So you'd have to scratch build those to show those. And I think they really dropped the ball on that. It would have been nice to see that in that kit. But unfortunately, alas, we haven't got it. I'm doing mine buttoned up anyway. We're going to be bomb bays open, sat there ready to go as if it's about to go on a mission. So, but yes, really, really nice. Looking forward to getting on with that one. Should be a lot of fun, especially, to be honest, weathering the black down, because I really enjoy doing that. And obviously weathering it in general, it should be a lot of fun with that one. Obviously, this week's been a little bit funny all the way because Matt's out at the moment, but obviously the sale is still ongoing over on the PM store as well. So this one will be ending soon, so grab it whilst you can. We do have bits and pieces in here as well, but we've got the usual bits. This is our 25% off sale. So this is 25% off the retail price of all kits just down in there. So if you want to grab those, grab them before they go. We've updated the special offers this morning as well. So we've got a nice bit of Academy down in there. That Tomcat is a gorgeous kit. It's a great kit. To be honest, so is the F86, a real nice classic one down in there. The Magister, which I've always fancied building but haven't done. Again, really nice job in there. We've got the actual, the Messerschmitt 109 to the G6. This is the 35th scale one by Border Models, and a couple of very nice, tasty Great Wall Hobbies kits as well, being the actual Devastator and the Flanker. So some nice ones. And again, if you fancy something Hong Kong models on the US front, obviously you've got the B17F that I built last year. So that is up there as well. That's a beautiful kit as well, and a couple of ICM gems right the way through. And then obviously we've got our damaged boxes, which are only lightly crushed corners and things like that. They're down in here if you want to grab any of those. Okay, as we said before, Matt has been off all this week, so nothing has actually been sent from the PM store. But Matt is back onto it on Monday, so all the orders will go out on Monday, as well as all the pre-orders as well from the Flory members. All of your stuff will go out on Monday and Tuesday when they get back on it in there. I know there's quite a bit to catch up on, and as I say, Matt, he did say annual leave. He was having surgery, so yes, he hasn't just been, soaking up the sun on the beach or in the back garden. He's actually been in hospital, so he'll be back to it though, and back at full power next week as we make our way through. So lots of good stuff just down in there. And that is about it for this week. Thank you very much for joining us. It's nice to get back to it was. Again, thank you for all the messages of support and condolence and things like that. It really does, mean a huge, huge amount, even though every time you start reading them, start blubbing, or we certainly were last week, because some of you said some truly heart-wrenching things as well. Some beautiful messages as well. And it just kicked me and the missus off. So it was like, woo. So yes, but a massive thank you. Unfortunately, as you say, we had, 450 plus messages come through. We haven't got time to message you all personally, but again, massive thank you. And to the people who've sent cards as well. We've had cards sent here to the house as well. So a massive thank you for that. Anyway. So that's about it from me. As always, on a Friday, I'm going to leave you with your great work from the gallery, plus the actual winners as well from the actual recently finished 70s group build for the Build Thread section. And congratulations to you. I'll be in touch next week with your goodie packs. So until next week, everybody, happy modelling. Take care.
Wasted, my heart grows heavy. Don't taste me rushing and keep your words naked. You got me blushing, and you forever I'll follow. You be my holy ground. You forever I'll follow. For the answer.